History books are lying. Africa is not our home. The Indians were you.
Welcome to the Aboriginal Channel. On this episode, we're going to be matching North Carolina counties to the tribes that they come from. Basically, these tribes right here, you have the Cherokee Creek, Tutelo, Tuscarora, Croatan, and then you have most of the area of North Carolina is Catawba and the Sioux. Now, I looked up Sioux, and it says a family of languages spoken by the Sioux and related peoples, including Crow, Dakota, Hidatsa, Lakota, Mandan, Omaha, and Yankton. So over there in the Dakotas, when you seen that little, look like a newspaper clipping where a guy said he's going way down south to South Dakota where the real true American darkies are, that let you know that it was so-called black folks all over this place. And even further west than that, in places like Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington, where you have major black metropolises. And that's because them Indians descend from the Indians that was already there from ancient times. Now we know that in North Carolina was the tribe that was related to those people in the Dakotas and over towards that area, basically. And before I go in to matching those tribes to the counties of North Carolina, I wanted to go back and point something out about Virginia. From this article that says Making Indians White, the Judicial Abolition of Native Slavery in Revolutionary Virginia and its Racial Legacy. And it goes down to say the hidden history of Indian slavery in Virginia. Now, a lot of stuff in here I don't believe. I believe this was a tool of propaganda. It says down there that Indians toiled on the plantation fields alongside African slaves. So it's a tool of propaganda to get you to believe a certain narrative. However, it said that in 1806, they abolished Indian slavery in the courts in Virginia. And when you look in the population count in Virginia by race, the so-called free black race had its most increase between the decade of 1800 and 1810. Basically 4 years after they passed that law, a bunch of so-called blacks became free more than in any other decade on this column from 1790 to 1860. The significance about the 1806 abolishment of Indian slavery in Virginia, if you ask me, is directly connected to the fact that they had just found gold in 1799 and they had just started gold mining in Virginia in 1804. So in 1804, they started digging in the ground for gold in Virginia. In 1806, they passed a law that said Indians can't be slaves no more. If you ask me, that meant they wanted to get to more of the Indians' land. So somehow they, pretty much every decision that they made concerning the Indians or later on so-called black folks is surrounded by money and land. And they say they counted over 300,000 so-called blacks in the state of Virginia in 1790, and that's 200,000 more than North Carolina and South Carolina. And all the other southern states had very, very few so-called blacks in those early years, which would rule out slavery down there. So the so-called slavery would have happened in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. However, we know that the Europeans were behind the forts. Now, a part of my family comes from the Tuscarora area of North Carolina, and I looked up all through that history, and I can tell you that white men were using Indian tribes to get slaves. Basically, a tribe would run into their enemy's tribe, kill up and capture their enemies, and then sell them to the white man who would take them back up to Virginia and work them on the plantations they had up there. And that's why you see so many more thousands of blacks in 1790 in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. You can find some correlation to what I just said about Indians going at other Indians in the history of the Tuscarora Wars in the early 1700s. But we'll get over here and match these tribes to these counties. Alamance is Catawba and Sioux. For this episode, when I say Sioux, I mean Carolina Sioux. Albemarle is Catawba Sioux. Alexander is Catawba Sioux. Allegheny is Catawba Sioux. Anson is Catawba Sioux. Archdale, Catawba Sioux. Ash, Catawba Sioux. Avery, Catawba Sioux. Bath, Catawba Sioux. Beaufort, Croatan. Bertie, Croatan. Ladin, Catawba Sioux. Brunswick, Catawba Sioux. Buncombe, Cherokee Creek, Burke, Catawba-Siouan, Butte, Catawba-Siouan, Cabarrus, Catawba-Siouan, Codwell, Catawba-Siouan, Camden, Croatan, Carteret, Catawba-Siouan, Caswell, Catawba-Siouan, Catawba, Catawba-Siouan, Chatham, Catawba-Siouan, Cherokee, Cherokee, Chowan, Croatan, Clay, Cherokee, Cleveland, Catawba-Siouan. Now you see where it says Chowan. It says right here that the Siouan languages family, Siouan or Siouan Kataban. So that AN, Chuan, Kataban, Croatan, Powhatan, that's a unique thing. Of course, you can look up some information on it. Columbus is Catawba-Siouan. Craven is Catawba-Siouan. Cumberland is Catawba-Siouan. Currituck is Croatan. Dare is Croatan. Davidson, Davie, Dobbs, Doplin, and Durham counties are all Catawba and Siouan. Edgecombe is Tuscarora. Forsyth is Catawba-Siouan. Franklin is Tuscarora. Gaston is Catawba-Siouan. Gates is Croatan. Glasgow is Catawba-Siouan. Graham is Cherokee. Grainville is Tutelo, Catawba-Siouan. Green is Tuscarora. Guilford is Catawba and Siouan. Halifax is Tuscarora. Harnett is Catawba and Siouan. Haywood is Cherokee. Henderson is Creek. Hertford is Croatan. Hoyt is Catawba and Siouan. Hyde is Croatan. Iredell is Catawba, Siouan. Jackson is Cherokee. Johnston is Tuscarora. Jones is Catawba, Siouan. Lee is Catawba, Siouan. Lenore is Catawba, Siouan. Lincoln is Catawba, Siouan. Macon is Cherokee. Madison is Cherokee. Martin is Croatan. McDowell is Catawba, Siouan. Mecklenburg is Catawba, Siouan. Mitchell is Catawba, Siouan. Montgomery is Catawba, Siouan. Moore is Catawba, Siouan. Nash is Tuscarora. New Hanover is Catawba, Siouan. Northampton is Croatan, Tuscarora. Onslow is Catawba, Siouan. Orange is Catawba, Siouan. Pamlico is Catawba, Siouan. Pasquotank is Croatan. Pender is Catawba, Siouan. Perquemis is Croatan. Person is Catawba, Siouan. Pitt is Tuscarora. Polk is Creek. Randolph is Catawba, Siouan. Richmond is Catawba, Siouan. Robeson is Catawba, Siouan. Rockingham is Catawba, Siouan. Row 1 is Catawba, Siouan. See the AN at the end of this row. Row 1 might have some significance. It might not. Rutherford, Sampson, Scotland, Stanley, Stokes, and Surrey counties are all Catawba and Siouan Indians. Swan is Cherokee. Transylvania is Catawba, Siouan. Tryon is Catawba, Siouan. Tyrell is Croatan. Union is Catawba, Siouan. Vance is Tutelo. Wake is Tuscarora. Warren is Tuscarora. Washington is Croatan. Watauga is Catawba and Siouan. Wayne is Tuscarora. Catawba, Siouan. Wilkes is Catawba, Siouan. Wilson is Tuscarora. Yadkin and Yancey are both Catawba and Siouan Indians. Through the history books, which has all been a lie. So therefore, if it's a lie, then what's the truth? If it's a lie, then what's the truth?